Hi, this is Pain to Power, and I am your host, Maria Cosme, also known as Brown Girl Interrupting. And Pain to Power is the show brought to you in association with the I Rant Network, where we talk about bringing our struggles and turning them into our strengths. And welcome, DMV Uncut 202. Welcome. Love to see people in our chat and joining us. Please make sure that right now, if you're watching us live or if you're watching the rebroadcast on YouTube or Facebook, please make sure that you are hitting the subscribe button, the bell, and liking and leave a comment. All right, Just One Love, our iRant family. Good evening, Just One Love. All right, so lovely to see new faces and our familiar faces. Today, we are talking about getting our emotions into shape. And we're going to be talking about this idea of resets. But this week, I had quite a bit of a reset. I had a pretty intense conversation for about 4 hours with someone who knew me in my past married life. And after coming home from a very intense emotional conversation, I was filled with emotions, a lot of emotions. And I think for me, oftentimes, which this is the healing journey, is that we don't always know what to do with those emotions. But what I love is that I was able to do my own little reset there, which is, I love it. Welcome, Dr. Sonia Matthews. I love it. Welcome. And my reset was that I had to let go of the self judgment of the mistakes I made as a 20-year-old woman who married the wrong person and had a tough life from that, and start to give myself some apologies and self forgiveness. And in that reset, which was a lot of ugly crying and a lot of intentional emotions, but I got to self forgiveness. And with that, I was able to carry forth in the rest of my week and with this last weekend where I had all of my 4 children together with me. And that reset really made a difference in how I was able to show up. So today I'm super excited because we're going to get more tools on how do we reset ourselves? How do we get our emotions in shape? So my guest is someone I had the pleasure of meeting in my day job because we both share a passion for the work of equity and students having agency and tools for empowerment. She is Dr. Belinda Allen, the founder of True to Fitness Health and the creator of Resetology, a trauma-informed approach to resilience and well-being. And her work helps leaders, parents, and everyday people reset from burnout, decision fatigue, and overwhelm into clarity, balance, and confidence. Please welcome Dr. Belinda Allen.
Hi. How are you? I am so glad
Hi.
to be here.
I am so happy to have you here. It has been it's been really cool getting to know you from this space of a professional space to now this place where you are here with me on Pain to Power, sharing your story.
I'm so glad to be here. I just want to apologize in advance. I am a little under the weather, so I may cough here and there, but I am here for it. I'm so glad to be here. We finally made it happen.
We absolutely did. And please take care of yourself throughout the show. Whatever you need, sip a tea. I'll take over if you need, right, for a moment. And you care for yourself because that is part of us, is that we show up as our full authentic selves, which means that when we need a moment, we need a moment. And we give ourselves that moment, right? So I always invite people onto the show and we have a conversation because for me, this show is called Pain to Power. And I believe that's a really personal journey everybody has and a personal relationship. So when you think about how you see pain becoming power for you, how would you describe that?
Pain becoming power for me, I feel like when you go through pain, it's empowerment. Why it's empowerment? You begin to ask yourself questions. Am I happy at this point? What can I do at this point? How can I get better? I know that I don't like feeling this way, so I want to do something different. What can that be? What resources I can tap into? What's the reason why I'm in pain? It begins those you begin to start asking questions when you're in pain. And the first question that I notice when I meet people who are in pain, the first question we always ask is what? Why? Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why am I going through this? Why is this happening to me?
But what I love is that's not the questions you asked just now, right? Those are very different questions, right? It's not the why. It's more of like exploration. I almost heard that pain is something we look at with curiosity with those questions.
We do. We do. We do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so, you do a lot of work now, but
Mhm.
I always like to get a sense of because I think everybody comes to the work that they do through the journey that they've been on. So tell me a little bit about your personal journey of you talk about resetting with emotion. So tell me a little bit about just what are some of the things you learned about emotions as a young girl and I'm actually I've written a course, and it's a lot about our socialization and emotions are something we're definitely given messages about, right? I'd love to hear what have you been socialized or were you socialized into when it comes to thinking about your own emotions?
I would like to say when I was growing up, I grew up in the state of Connecticut. And at that time, my parents were young and they were just enjoying their life, and I didn't realize how young my parents was because when I was growing up and I became of age, all of my friends who was in high school loved my parents. They thought they were the cool parents, and all my cousins thought my parents was the cool parents, and they were. But for me,
Mm,
they were my parents, and I didn't want to share them. I was really selfish at that point. But growing up, I realized that I had to share my parents. I had to share that environment because I come from a big family. I like to say the first cousins and the second cousins, it was probably like 75 of us. It was like really big. It was a big.
mm,
And what we did, we went through a lot of trials and tribulations that were growing up. As a young woman growing up, I went through what I want to have, what my cousin have, or why I want my cousin is doing this, why can't I do that? I want to do
mhm,
that. So a lot of envious and jealousy from my part because I wanted to do what my cousins were doing, but my parents were
mhm,
like, no, you can't do that, you know. So sharing my parents that everyone loved, and they're letting all the other cousins do it, and I couldn't do it. So that was my start of pain because I had to share my parents, and I was confused about, well, why
mhm,
can't I do what my cousins were doing? So as time went on, I became I don't want to say resentful, but I because that's not the proper word I want to use because I love my cousins. I want to say jealous that they had a better relationship with my parents than I had. At least
mhm,
that's what I thought at the time. So I had to soothe myself, and I soothed myself by cheering myself on, saying that I was great, saying, just doing that self soothe, the self talking. And then as I got older, I went to college and I got out of college. I was like, I'm moving away because I don't want to share my parents and I don't want to grow up like. Da, da, da. I would just have these conversations with myself, but I realized those conversations motivated me. They motivated me to cheer myself on more. And then I also had this beautiful cousin, his name is Marcus Burris. He would always give me compliments. And he would always say, "You're a star. You're different. Your parents treat you different because you're different. They see something different in you." So he would give me
mm,
that push. So that self soothing voice that I was going through, having him as a cheerleader in the background, then I became a cheerleader. And by becoming a cheerleader, when I finished high school and went to college, I decided to move away. So I really had to cheer myself on because I was in a new state,
mm,
no family, by myself. didn't know any I didn't even have a navigation like now we have an app. I had to find a map, find my way around. So coming in the Washington DC area, working at Georgetown University Hospital, the first hospital I ever worked, I had to figure it out. And that was stressful along with pain because I felt like I left home because I had a little green monster on my shoulder talking to me constantly. And then I had
mm,
angel on my shoulder, giving me great advice and motivating me. But then I'm in a new world. So that's overwhelming and pain together.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine that before we move on? Can you imagine that?
But that's a lot, right? And it sounds like you had tools when you were younger, but as you get older and new environments, new circumstances, new challenges, you got to get new tools.
Hmm.
Those
I
old tools weren't working anymore, right? Like so what did you have to do differently, you think, in this next iteration as you moved here and you're alone and you're navigating everything on your own, new job, new space?
So, doing something different, before we get to the different part, I want to add that I was a surgical nurse. So, being
Mm.
a surgical nurse, that means standing in surgery. Sometimes you didn't have lunch. Sometimes you're compromising your mental, you're compromising your body because things are going on in your body. You just can't leave the patient on the table. So,
Mm.
it comes with that, and then it comes with you're the new girl. So, you have to do a lot of call. So I would,
Mm.
again, I'm in a whole new world, driving, not realizing that PG County and Fairfax is really far away. So I was driving, doing, call up and down 495. So that's additional pain, and trying to figure
Mhm.
it out. So at that point in time, I had to say to myself, okay, you're going to be okay. You just have to navigate this. Navigating this looks like understanding that driving from PG County to Fairfax, that's too far. You cannot do that. So I had to basically start talking to myself more calmly, start asking myself those smart questions. You're stressed. Now you're doing call, you know. Now you're not
Mm.
eating, you're not sleeping. If you continue this way, you're not going to make it. And you are in a state where you cannot pick up the phone and call someone and they'll come and rescue you in 15, 20 minutes. You're 5, 6 hours away.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really had to be kind to myself and say, look, you're doing the best you can, but let's be realistic here. How can we alleviate and eliminate some of this stress? So that's how I started asking those smart questions.
Right. Well, I love that. And can I ask, because I want to just pare back a little bit, and I do want to honor. I saw Just One Love made a comment in here. Estrine Covington, welcome. Agreed. Navigating pain is an essential life skill. Absolutely. And I'm so glad you're joining us because that's what we do here in Pain to Power. And Just One Love, feeling the overwhelming feeling of being in a new city, new circumstances, new challenges right now. Oh wow. Well, Just One Love, I'm so glad that you're joining us as our Ranters fan, because hopefully you're going to take some tools away from Dr. Allen here sharing. Kelso Reach says, peace to the ranchers. I'm taking notes. I love it. Thank you so much for tuning in. So I want to know, like, what was it? Because you're talking about you starting to ask these questions, but sometimes we're so in the thick of the stuff, right? Like we don't realize when we need to start asking the questions. Was there some signal, something your body you realize, like was
Mhm.
there a shutdown? Like I know for me, stress manifests in my body. So I know when I'm starting to get sick that there's something else beyond that. But what is it that you notice for yourself that like gave you that alarm? Oh no, something is not right.
Well, our brain likes to keep us safe, and we tend to have those habit loops. It would be one trigger, just a thought that the weekend was coming and I had to do call. That was the trigger.
Oh.
That was the trigger.
Mm.
My responsibility was to get from PG County to Fairfax in 30 minutes. That was the trigger. So that trigger would give me a headache. I would just have like headaches. And then having a headache, I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't drink. So I was doing my body a disservice.
Mm.
So that was the trigger. And I knew that that was something that I couldn't bring in the OR, saving a life on the table. Now I'm lightheaded, I'm not eating, I'm having a headache. That's just not what I signed up for. I signed up to save a life. I signed up to be a nurse, empathetic, and save lives.
Yeah.
Going in their stress, I'm not saving a life. I'm not working at my best. I can't support the doctor. I can't support the anesthesiologist. I can't even support myself. So
Mm.
that call was the trigger. So that was the first trigger.
Mhm.
Okay. The second trigger is when you do get the call and then you have back to back to back cases.
Mm.
Second trigger. So now I have to go home with sore back, legs hurt, feet hurt, and I still didn't want to eat. So I had to really, really assess where I was and say to myself, is this something that I want to continue to do? I went to school, but I didn't go to school for this. So
Mm.
I really, really had to have those smart questions. You just really have to think about where you are, what's going on in your body. And sometimes it can go on for so long in your body, you start getting things going on extra that you didn't look for. You didn't ask. Like, for instance, you can appendix, tumors, lots of things
Mm.
can happen when stress is
Ulcers,
up,
right?
ulcers, so just really, really looking at that and asking those questions. So that was my second line of
Mm.
defense, asking those questions, those triggers.
Mm.
You gotta be mindful of the triggers. We every day think about it. Today is Sunday. Some of us have to go to work
Right.
tomorrow.
Ev We're
We
already in those mindsets, right?
we're dreading it. We are literally dreading going, not we
Mm.
in general, but some of us
Mhm,
are
mhm.
dreading going to work tomorrow. That's a trigger.
Absolutely. So, and I love it because I think, and this is where I wanted to ask you about a little bit more is there's this body mind connection you're making because I think sometimes we think about our minds before we recognize our bodies. We think our bodies are like the secondary thing. We're not always recognizing that the body is actually giving us all the trigger and the information we need to
Mhm.
know the data that needs to be addressed. So tell me, like for you, that connection between the body and the mind, how do you or how would you tell us that that is so important and where we're able to make those connections?
I will start off by saying, well, let me ask you a question before I start off by saying something.
I
I'll
love
ask you
it.
a question. I love
Please fire
asking
away.
this question because it's not a pass fail, it's just something to be aware of.
Okay.
So you're lying in the bed, your alarm goes off. What is the first thing you do when your alarm goes off?
Oh, I'm
Hmm.
not a morning person. Can I say that in the very beginning of this? Like,
You can
I
say that.
literally have this conversation with myself and many people daily is I'm not a morning person. So for me, it's like, um, what time is it? Can I put this news on for just a few more moments? Because I'm not ready to face the day yet.
Well, that's a great answer because for starters, for me to be as happy as I am, I'm not a morning person as well. Just so you're safe. We're safe.
Okay, okay. Well, I appreciate that.
But the majority, they pick up their phone. They scroll through their phone before they even allow their brain to wake up. I
Mm.
would encourage each and every one who's listening today, or tell your family, when you wake up in the morning, hit the alarm, put the phone down. And when you put the phone down, I want you to lie in a bed and think about, what do you want your day to look like? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to get done? What's draining you? What's distracting you? What can you delegate? How do you want your day to end? And then
Mm.
I want you to go in the bathroom and I want you to look at yourself in the face and ask yourself, am I okay? You want to perform a self audit as you're asking yourself, am I okay? Your body lets you know if you're okay before any calendar will let you know to reset. You look at your eyes, you look at your skin, see if your skin is dry. Your eyes will tell if you need more sleep. Add an extra hour of sleep. If your skin is
Mm.
dry, drink some water. And then after you do your self audit, do a breathing exercise. Just a 2-minute breathing exercise. And once you do your 2-minute breathing exercise, look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm okay. I am doing the best I can. I love myself. I like myself. And here's the challenge, tell yourself why you like yourself.
Mm, mm. Taking
That's
another step. Mhm.
taking another step. That is starting the first line of your mental defense.
Mm.
And to start putting priorities and boundaries and putting yourself first, because now you realize you are worthy of a reset. So that's
Uh,
what.
well, I love that, and there's so many pieces there. Before we get to it, though, I saw a lot of people in the chat, and I just want to honor. We've got some great conversations going on. So, just one love says, being homesick and lonely were my triggers, which made me anxious all day with back pain, relying on medication, which I didn't want to do. Well, I'm so sorry, just one love, that it has been
Yeah,
that difficult for you. But it sounds like your body was giving you those messages, right? Saying, "This is the day the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it." I love that you do have some reframing and no holdbacks TV. Welcome, Tasha, also part of our I Rant family. I love so many people pulling up today. This is true. I get up and try to say a prayer first after I turn the alarm off, then say today is going to be a good day. Like I'm ice cube, right? I love it. I never put myself first as a caregiver, right? Well, honestly, Tasha, I want to say, and to you, Belinda, too. Like, I've been doing this course, and I think one of the patterns that keeps coming up for most women that I'm talking to, because I happen to be talking to women, but I believe it's probably people. Right. I don't think it's just females that are there. This is that not putting ourselves first is just a very common thing, a common thing. And whether that means scrolling on your phone because you're not putting yourself first, right? You're putting everything else first, or it's just moving through your day and not checking in with yourself, like you just mentioned, all those elements, right? Like, so there's a lot of ways that we often don't put ourselves first or
right.
prioritize ourselves. But it sounds like part of the foundations of emotional fitness, which is what you're talking about here, is the self focus. Like, you got to focus on yourself. And it sounds like that requires the reframing. I have to start having some of those mental conversations and shifting and thinking about my mentality differently, and then, right, putting ourselves first. What Tell me a little bit more about emotional fitness, and like you talk about this, right? Like we can do this. We can train our emotions.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, we could train our emotions by starting off asking smart questions. If you're lying in the bed and you don't feel like getting up, ask yourself why. If you ask yourself why 7 times, you're going to get the answer. So let's play the why game right now. You said you don't want to get out of bed when you wake up. You just want 5 more minutes. So let's start off
Mhm.
and play the game and say, why? Why do you want 5 more minutes?
Mm. Because I think I might feel a little bit more rested and I'll be ready to wake up if I have 5 more minutes.
Okay, so you get 5 more minutes. Why do you feel like you deserve 5 more extra minutes?
I work really hard and I went to bed really late working.
So why are you working hard and why are you going to bed late? You see how this is working
Because
out?
there's not enough time, right? Yes, no, I get it. And we keep going and we keep going. And I think
And then you're going to get your answer.
if I were to go further, sometimes I think I wonder if also we aren't doing what we really want to do sometimes. So, am I waking up to the thing that I want to wake up to? I wonder if that's a question some people aren't asking ourselves.
Or if I go to bed an extra hour, will it help?
That too. Yes, that one too.
And some of us, I go to bed late too. I'm a night owl. Okay, those who know me know I'm a night owl. I'm in the bed like 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I'm answering emails and things of that nature. But you have to ask yourself, if I give myself an extra hour for 5 days, when my alarm go off, will I actually get up? But you don't
Mm.
know. You don't know because you never tried it.
So the questions are leading me to then consider new habits I can adapt that might change the outcome of the habits that are not actually working for me.
The question is leading you to the habit loop.
Okay, the habit loop.
Habit loop that goes on, because remember, our brain wants to keep us safe. It wants to keep us in that same pattern, but we
Mm.
have to identify the pattern before we can start initiating tools and resources to break the pattern. Have to be
Mm.
honest with ourselves and ask why. Why am I feeling this way? If I just do an exercise and go to bed an hour early 5 days this week and I still feel this way, then you got to ask yourself why again. You start asking that question why. And so now you're beginning to rebuild. Let me give you an example. When our phone acts up, okay,
That happens.
get an update. If you ever notice, iPhones, it implements an update,
Mhm, mhm.
right? Every so often, the iPhone will implement an update. It reboots. Why are we any different from an iPhone?
Mm.
We need to reboot. We need to recalibrate. So that means we're going to have to shift it up. We have to change some things. We have to add some things and take some things away. So if you're on your phone late at night, get off the phone because all you're doing is inviting all that outside energy in your brain before you go to sleep. Now your brain is really active and it's never resting. Our brain is constantly going and going and going. So
Mhm.
these are some things that I would say to just start asking why 7 times. You're going to get the answer. I promise.
Okay, well, I like that, but that's a really useful tool, and that's something that all of us can do. Y'all heard it, right? 7 times, ask yourself why, and we're
7
gonna get
times.
the answer. I mean, it's like root cause analysis essentially is what it is, right? That's the root
Mhm.
cause. That's where we keep going and we keep going. Well, why? Why, right? The kids had it right at toddler age, right? The why question is the right
Why?
question to
Go
ask.
to bed.
Why?
Why?
Um, but I love this idea because you talk about the reboot with our phones, and iPhone always lets us know when we need to reboot. But how do we know when we need to reboot? Like, what are some of the things that help us know that okay, I need a reboot right now? So I know we kind of talked about the burnout in terms of like like really coming to a place, but it sounds like reboot isn't really at that level always. It might be a little bit less intense, but you just know there needs to be a shift.
Definitely. And I would say that's where a time budget comes in. That's when you calculate your time. Calculating your time, that's when you look at your calendar. Just take a moment, look at your calendar, and look at what is taking the majority of your time. And then you look and see what is taking less of your time. So you want to incorporate that time budget. For instance, you got it, we all going to get 24 hours a day. We're not going to get any extra hours of the day. We already know that. It's just the way it is. That's
Mm.
how they created it. So in that 24 hours a day, you want to look at for 30 days who, what, where, why, and how is taking your time.
Mm.
Okay. And if you have extra things up there that you can get rid of, delegate that. Get rid of it. So then you want to, I think a beautiful calendar is when you have white spaces, back to
Mm.
back meetings, back to back. That doesn't do you well. You got
Oh,
to incorporate
Lord.
those white spaces. And inside, you're like, oh Lord, like you're feeling this. And inside those white spaces, I want you
They
to,
feel like breaths in the middle of the day. I'll be honest. When I look at my calendar, I'm like, oh, I'm going to breathe today a little bit.
well, here's the thing. I could give you a little trick. Okay. Take a moment, look at your calendar, move some things around, create white space. Then I want you to put on your phone at 10 o'clock, no matter what's going on at 10 o'clock, I want you to give yourself 5 minutes to reset. Think about what do you want to accomplish today, or just sit in peace, quietness. 5 minutes. Do
Mm.
that every single day for 5 days. You've given yourself 35 minutes back.
Mm. Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. And
Do
that
that for 2 weeks.
specific time budget.
Do it for 2 weeks.
Mm.
Then I want you to start putting in there 10 minutes. And then
Mm.
after the 2 weeks, 15. The object of the game is to give yourself 1 hour of free time. So you think about it, 5 days a week, eventually it's 5 hours. And 5 times 4, that's 20 hours that you're giving yourself back.
Mm.
It's important to do a time budget. And when you're doing a time budget, you want to look at The time you're giving your family, the time you're giving yourself, the time you're giving your
Mm.
spouse, the time you're giving work. Cut the computer off. Work is not paying for extra hours, so don't give work the extra hours. So that's what I would say. Incorporate a time budget and really look and see who and what is taking your time. Take your time back.
Love that. I mean, and isn't that the thing that most people say is the reason I can't take care of myself or the reason I can't exercise? And I'm going to be one of those people to say that because I literally was trying to figure it out today. And I'm like, but time is the thing that stops us from change often
Yeah.
because we use that as our crutch. So there's a lot of moving through that. So, okay, I'm going to pare us back a little bit because you've given us a
Okay.
lot of amazing resources, but I got to know, how did you come to understanding all these things through your own life? Like, at what point did you start to make these connections and like, oh, if I budget my time, if I, like, how did this come for you?
Honestly, I knew at that time. Well, first, I realized that being an operating room nurse was not for me after a decade. I just like, okay, I'm newly married. This is not gonna happen. I'm not gonna have time. I mean, I was newly married and my husband wanted to go out and I didn't have time to go out with my husband on the weekends.
Mm,
My husband's
mhm,
family, they love to get together and I was always missing out. And I was like, well, gee, I'm newly married. I want to be involved. I want to be engaged. So I realized that resilience comes with a cost. It comes with the cost when you have to scale back. The word no, that's it. It's stronger than you think. It when you say no, it's not weak. It's strength.
mm, mm.
Saying no gives you back time. If you miss a birthday, it's okay. I'm sorry, I'm unable to do that. However, I can send you a gift. You don't have to explain why you're unable to attend. You don't have to explain that. You just, I'm sorry, I just cannot come this time, but I'll be at the next one. And be honest. Resilience comes with the cost. It comes with the cost because you have to control your time. You have to control your nose, implement more no's, implement
Mm,
more no's,
mhm.
creating mental safe spaces. You have to create mental safe spaces because here's the thing. How are you going to grow and get to the next level if you do not create that space? I mean, we could just throw it out there, put it on the AI and see if it sticks. But how many times you're going to keep throwing it out there, put it on the AI and see if it sticks? How many times you're going to do that? Because after a while, you're going to see 2 years went by and you're still throwing it in the AI to see if it sticks. When we can incorporate that mental space, time. If you incorporate the time, you can incorporate the mental space and you can incorporate those smart questions. Because only you know what it is that you want to do. Only you know where it is you want to be.
And only you know what's getting in the way, really.
Only you know what's getting in your way. Only I only you know.
Only you know.
Only
I
you.
love that. Only you know, right? But
Only you
I
know.
mean, but that's so important because all of this requires effort. But I what I love is that you've offered this small incremental shifts for change, right? Like change, and I think sometimes people don't make change or don't change their habits, and people, by people I mean me too. But I'm just saying, it's people. I'm people too. But like, but because we feel like it's got to be this grandiose thing, right? Like, so, okay, I haven't worked out in so long. Now I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a day for an hour and I'm going to do all the exercises and like all the classes, right? Like we jump. That's what happens.
And
Like
you
we have
leave
our New
and then
Year's
you quit.
resolutions and then we quit.
Then
And then
you
we quit. Nothing sustains. So what I love is that, and it reminds me a little bit of Atomic Habits, right? It's this idea of small shifts, really intentionally, and in a way where it's aligned to your life. So
those
it's
small
not
wins.
something outside of what's already happening. So you're like, there's no excuse for you to say, okay, I'm just not going to pick up my phone right now, right away. I'm going to just sit for a moment and think about me.
5 minutes.
5
Cut it off.
minutes, 5 minutes, okay?
5 minutes. Incorporate it. Let the alarm go off at 10 o'clock. You're gonna be on your phone anyway. I mean, let's be honest. You're gonna scroll or you're gonna these habit loops. 5 minutes, 10 o'clock. Alarm goes off. Give yourself 5 minutes. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Give yourself 5 minutes. 5 o'clock in the evening. It doesn't matter if you're in traffic. Give yourself 5 minutes. Pull over. Give yourself 5 minutes. Or just give yourself 5 minutes. Because I'm telling you,
Because you deserve it.
you deserve it. And it's so wild if you think about how much time you give away. You're like, wait a minute, I cannot get this time back. You can't.
Mm.
Boundaries equals results.
Mm.
If you like the boundaries, you make minor shifts. If you don't like the boundaries, you have to create a safe space. You have to change it. You have to do shifts. So I want
What,
everyone to leave.
can we go back a second? You mean if you don't like the boundaries, meaning if you don't want to put up boundaries, then what you just need to do is put up your own safe space.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Boundaries. It equals results. Leave here tonight. Boundaries equals results.
Did everybody hear that? Boundaries equals
Equals
results. We're
results.
putting ourselves first, and boundaries equals results.
Equals results.
I hope you're all taking notes right now.
Yeah.
I love this. And I mean, but all of this is so important to, again, getting to a lot of the spaces, and that I imagine you're seeing in the work that you do, which I want to get into a little bit more of, what are you doing with, you have all this knowledge. So let's talk about what you do with it. You are the creator of Resetology. It sounds like we got a little mini course in it just now, right?
A little mini course,
A
yes.
little mini course.
Yes,
But tell
yes,
me about Resetology, what you do for others, what's the purpose of it?
So Resetology came about. I have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cousin. She lives here in Maryland, and we like to call ourselves sister cousins. Sister cousins.
I love sister cousins. Yeah.
Miss Covington. We were talking about it. We were talking about reset, and I was telling her how reset. What does it look like to me? And we talked about recenter, refocus, regaining, reimagining. We were just putting these R's together. And then I said, wouldn't it be great to teach 3 R's, 3 simple R's that people can use to get results? So we came up with the R3. And I think I did one workshop just as a trial. And during that time, you wouldn't believe how many people raised their hand and said that they don't reset at all.
I'm not surprised. I
That
think we see it all the time. We sacrifice ourselves for everything and everyone else.
It was shocking to me how many, I want to say women at the time I was speaking with, but like 9 times out of 10, they all raised their hand and said they don't take a lunch break. But men do. That was shocking to me. And we're talking like executive leaders. They don't take lunch breaks. They just go and go and go and go and go. And I said, well, how are you being productive throughout the day if you're doing meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting? So I was talking to my sister cousin, and we came up with the name, and I just came up with the formula, the framework. And I said, you know what? I just want to teach people actually how to just do mini resets so they can have big wins. So that's what I do. We go to organizations in the community, and we do resilience training. And we just, first off, we talk about awareness, and they're shocked. So many people are shocked, like, oh my gosh, because I really take them down the trail to show them exactly how much time they're giving away, and they're not getting paid for it. That's the thing right there. Monetize if you're going to give your time away. And then after we talked about that, when we go to resources in reference to understanding your triggers, understanding stress onset, the name of the game is to reverse stress before you reach burnout. That's the name of the game. Tools where they can go throughout their day where they're not so overwhelmed. So that's what we do. We do these workshops in the community. I do it other things. I'm sure you saw me doing other things, working with the youth. I
Well, we're
partner.
going to talk about that in a second because I want to
Oh,
get to that
okay.
as well.
So that's what we do.
I love that. No, but I mean, and I would wholeheartedly agree. I work in the school system, and I meet so many women leaders
Mm,
who move,
mm.
and rarely take care of themselves, right? Like, I'm lucky if they're sitting there, at 3 o'clock with a meeting with me and they're eating a couple blueberries because they haven't eaten all day, right? Like, I see it. I
Yeah,
see it
I know.
constantly, right? And I think for me, I'm also one of those people. I'm like, now we're pausing. Like, we're not going to keep moving, moving, moving. Like, that's been something that for me has been my tiny goal of like, I'm not. I am moving in flow and not in task constantly, right? Like, that's my goal. But that's what we do. That's what women do. And I love that you're talking to organizations. But I met you in quite a beautiful space. So let's talk about that a little bit. I met you at the Youth Equity Summit.
Yes.
Um, and that was quite a amazing experience because I think
Yes.
we were both there talking specifically and meeting. There were students there. It was young girls and young boys,
Mhm.
and that's a lot of the work that you're doing. So tell me how some of this information is guiding and empowering young people.
Wow. Well, let me tell you first, I love the fact that I was able to partner up with Dion Bowen. He is the CEO of Epic Arts University. And what we do, well, I partner with him, what they do. And of course, I join in as the wellness aspect of it. We go inside universities, schools. I mean, we're not just saying university and schools, we're talking Baltimore, Montgomery County, PG County, Carroll County, and we're going in and we're working with the youth. And I work with their mental reset. I introduce them to resetology, and of course the summit, it lifts up the youth spirit. And they I love how the workshops, they break out in sessions where some can go in a session talk about real estate, some can go in a session talk about, they want to advance in a career when they get out of high school, and some in a session where they're talking about their mental well-being. Oh my gosh, Dion is
There's
great.
Dion.
He's so
We
wonderful.
love Dion. He's an amazing, amazing person.
Amazing, amazing. And I can go on and on, but I think Dion would spill this pitch better than I would. I am just so
Well,
glad to be part of
Dion's going to be on this show soon too. This
it.
is his pitch to know he needs to be here too.
I will tell him, absolutely. And working with the youth, they're smart. They're very, very smart. One thing I can say, they are aware of their mental well-being. They're
Mhm.
very aware of it. They believe in taking time. Their time is on TikTok. their time is on, TikTok, because I don't think the youth is on Facebook, or either TikTok or Instagram, and that's their time, and they believe in taking that time, and I love that. But unfortunately, they are going through anxiety. They are going through a lot because, again, when the youth, their life is different from when we were younger. They're dealing with a lot, and unfortunately, a lot of what we're going through as adults, it's in the youth space. The youth see it on their parents, and they take in on that, and they take in on what they're dealing with in school, and they're feeling like they don't have a voice. They feel like they don't have a space. They feel that with their counselors in school, they're just another number. And going in and talking to them and giving them really tricks to have a better relationship with their teachers, and then also create a new relationship with their parents, and understanding that this is a different time for parents as well. So I
Mhm.
love going in there and talking to them. I love them to death. And I don't just do it with Dion's group. I also do it with my company as well. We got a couple of schools here in Montgomery County, and we're going in, like, for instance, I have Tilden. I go in with Tilden and I work with
Mhm.
the Pom Pom girls, and they are very, very smart. But what I love about them, they're unapologetic when it comes to their time.
Mm.
They respect their time. They're quick to say,
Okay.
"No, I don't wanna do that. No, that doesn't align." They're very smart when it comes to that, but they're struggling with anxiety.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I give them
Mm.
tools to use to identify what they're going through in anxiety. I give them little cards and say, "If you feel this, do this." And they love
Mm.
to have the little cards. It reminds them what anxiety feels like. And we create something called the pulse box. And inside this pulse box, it's a mental well-being survival kit for them. So we're talking lotions, smell goods. Oh, okay.
And you can order them yourself too,
You
and
can
for a
order them
friend.
yourself. Smell goods, and we go in and we actually create this for them, and not just create it
Mm.
for them, they create it themselves because,
Mm.
they like the smell of peppermint. I tell them about peppermint helps you to calm a little bit. So it's fun getting to know them a little bit more and having them to really tell me how they really feel and what's their turning point.
Well, and again, like, but it's so important. What you're doing is so important because, as I said, I do work in the school system, right? And the number of students that carry anxiety, that carry trauma, that carry so much, they're going through hate and bias in their own classrooms. They're experiencing, the socio-political climate of our world right now. There is so much that children are carrying right now, and they don't have a place and they don't have a way to process it always. So I feel like what you're doing, what Dion is doing with the Youth Equity Summit is so important. And I got to sit in on your session with some young kids at one of our schools, and I saw the engagement. I saw that shift, and I saw them being able to make connections between what they experience in class, what they're feeling at home, and these tools that you're giving them as a way to start changing their own experience, right? So those tools that empower students is transformational.
It is. And it's just basically having them to recognize what they're going through, recognize burnout, and choosing to build something better. I'm going to start this with you as well. Just a quick question. And I propose it to the children. I don't want to say the children, but the youth. I'll say to them, how do you know if you're having a good day, a bad day, or you're experiencing burnout? How do you know?
Hmm. Good day, bad day, burnout.
When
Well,
it's the
Imma start
same. When you're
with,
someone
like
who's going, when you feel the same, let's say
mhm.
you feel an anxiety every single day. We'll just
That's
use that.
burnout? Is that burnout?
No, I'm saying if you have a child, a youth that's experiencing anxiety and they cannot decipher, how do you know if you're having a good day because they can't decipher that? How do you know if you're having a bad day? And how do you know if you're experiencing burnout?
So students really don't even have those distinctions. They
They don't.
just are that's but
They
how
just create it.
powerful to know the difference, because how can you create what you want if you don't even know what it looks like and
And
feels
that's
like?
why we're there. That's why we're there. And I ask you the same thing. How do you know if you're having a bad day or if you're experiencing burnout? How would you know?
So I will say I know now because I've been doing a lot of work, right? Like, I've been doing this show and I've been learning tools and I've been doing a lot of work, and I
Mhm.
know burnout, and honestly, I don't allow myself to get there anymore. So I haven't felt it in a really long time, but it's when my body is done. I feel it, right? Like, my brain is not firing the way it normally does, right? I am irritable to the people around me. I don't want to be around people, right? Those are all my burnout moments. And they lead to a lot of crying and breakdowns, right? Like, and
Mhm.
but I haven't had them in a while because I have been very cognizant. To your point, I think telling kids and having young people and older people identify those things, then you can catch it when it becomes a bad day before it becomes a burnout.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not going to allow multiple bad days to pass. I'm going to, okay, today was a rough day.
Yes.
Tomorrow, what do I need to do differently to make it a better day?
Yes. And I love that you do that, but our youth sometimes they just don't know how to ask those smart questions.
No.
And also just being in that environment to help the youth become mini first responders. Let's be honest, our youth are in school 8 hours a day. We're working. If one of our youth friend is suffering in silence,
Mm.
I'll be able to identify it first. If they're thinking, and I don't like to use the word, but it's a very true word, suicidal thoughts, the youth is able to help their friend first. So we're creating a space where they could become first line, our first liners. Because we don't, that's the worst thing any parent wants to do is wake up and their child is no longer here because they had those thoughts and they didn't know and their friend knew, but their friend didn't take them serious because they just thought they was just joking. But they're not joking. They're not joking at all. So it's just about
Mm.
creating that space where they could be aware, they know the right questions to ask their friends, becoming the first liners. And that's
Mm.
another reason why it's very, very passionate for me when it comes to the youth. I've had 3 friends who lost their children, and I call them children because if you're not 21 to me, you're a child. But she lost her son, and it was her only son. So
Mm.
it's very important. We have to start. Unfortunately, our youth has to grow up a little faster than we did, but they are living in a different type of world than we're living in, and it's just important to show them what it really looks like. If someone is suffering silence, you may not always be able to identify it, but you can ask questions if they're
And
coming.
and then just having the lens to be able to start to see things, right? And to have open dialogue. What I love is, again, this is providing language for kids so we can talk to each other, and there's no stigma in this conversation, because for many children it's also overcoming cultural stigmas in talking about mental health. There's a lot of communities and a lot of, of even, gender wise sometimes in mental health, but also in culture and ethnicities and races. Like, there's differences in how children are given the opportunity at home to talk about their mental health. So having a space to do that, and then being able to know that it's okay, and supporting their friends, supporting other students, right? Like, that is so important. And I think that that's the goal, right? Because all of it is about humanity.
It
It's
is.
about honoring their own humanity of just being individuals who need to be cared for themselves, and also recognizing their peers in the same ways. And it is very important work, and you are definitely helping them, because I think this is the other piece that I think about often, is that it's so much easier. There's a quote, and I can't tell you what it is right now because my brain is not working, but there's an excellent quote, and I know you're gonna know what I'm talking about. I can't think of who said it or what the quote is, but the idea is that it is so much easier to build and give tools to someone who is young than to start to reshape and change the mindsets of someone who is older. And right now, as I'm doing my courses even, and we're talking about our socialization and these patterns that we've internalized that keep us stuck in these places of not of not thinking about ourselves, but always sacrificing ourselves for others. They start in our teen years. For many of us, they start when we're much younger. So if we start to tackle them, identify them, and start shifting those narratives when we're in our teens, before we start making those decisions that sacrifice ourselves, whether it's with our jobs, whether it's in relationships, whether it's with school, whatever that path is, whatever it is that we're sacrificing. And
Mm,
young people often do that in their adulthood, right? It's
yeah,
the tools given early. And I think that, to me, is the goal of this work, is what I hope this show does, which I hope all the work that comes from this show does, is that we're starting early. Pain to Power should be a journey that we don't have to wait until we're all the way into the pain of our 50s and 40s before we start addressing it.
yeah. That is so true. So true.
Right now, if you look back and you talk to your 20-year-old self, don't you wish, right? There's some tools that you wish you had. I mean, I think about it all the time. That was my story at the beginning, right? This is the work, is that, you know, we have these stages of our lives where we've made decisions and we have to go back and forgive ourselves, but start shifting those decisions, start making those resets, start making our small habits, right? Like you said, those
Small habits.
small habits can change the outcomes, right?
Because
Boundaries
you dive,
equals
like you said,
results,
you
right?
dive
I
in
saw
big
the Just One said it, right? Just One Love said it. Boundaries equals results, right? Like that's the
results.
truth. That's the absolute truth. Thank you so much for all of your wisdom and your skills and all the things. Please let us know, where do we find you? How do we follow you? How
Oh
do
my,
we get some guidance from you?
oh, guidance, guidance, guidance. Well, I love giving guidance, as you can see. So, T2FH, we actually do have a resilience program, and it's called the Breakaway Call. And we always allow individuals to have this breakaway call twice. They'll come in and they'll just tap in and see how it is. But anyway, they'll come in. Some people get the breakaway call. What it looks like you calling in or someone calling you and creating that safe space where you can just, some people go in and they call it and they want to sit in silence. Some people call, they just want to talk it through. We're not therapists, although we do have therapists on the team. We do. But what we do is we allow that space. Remember that 5 minute, mini little space for you to use that you can just call on in and then just sit in silence or ask questions. It's your space, it's your time. We let you use it because what it does is it holds accountability that you will put yourself first and you will create that 5 minutes. So the breakaway call is a great program that we have that we offer. And you can always find me on True to Fitness Health. Let me spell it. TRU, the number 2, fitnesshealth.com. You can find me there, or you can find me on social media. I would say Instagram, and that's T2FH on Instagram. And you can always email me.
All right.
Yes, you can email
And
me.
all of that information, as always, is linked right below in this YouTube description. You have all of the links so you can go and find Belinda Allen. You can also find me and all the things that I am doing. And please make sure that if you haven't done it yet, that you have subscribed to this channel. You have hit that little bell so that you know every Sunday at 9 p.m. I'm sorry, at 8 p.m. Pain to Power comes on with some excellent guests with dynamic stories and tools for us to turn our pain into power. Please make sure to leave a comment in the on YouTube to let us know what resonated with you, what's standing out for you, what's a tool you're taking away, what's a thinking about a thought that you have. I love the whys. I'm going to really take that one with me because that's the simplest one, right? Just ask yourself why 7 times and you will come to the root cause of what it is that's going on for you. Thank you so much, Belinda. Before we leave, I have mentioned it a few times, but I just want to also tell you is that I have created some courses. So, Belinda, I've created some courses, Dr. Allen, that I want to tell you about as well, that
Okay.
are all about getting to target and understanding how do we unlock the empowerment within us by finding our patterns that are holding us back and starting to reframe them and retrain our brains, as well as learning some habits similar to those boundary setting and how we communicate with others. It is a 5-week course, all virtual. Starting again, I'm right now in my cohort 1, loving the folks that I'm with, and we're doing some great conversations. And cohort 2 will begin in November, on November 4th, as well as in January, we'll start our cohort 3. So please make sure that you are ready to sign up. Think we're going to have a little promo here in a few moments. And I will send you all the information is on my website, and the link for the PayPal is in my bio in Instagram. So thank you so much, Joanne Blessed Dreamer, Dr. Allen. Thank you so much, Joanne, for joining us. And thank you to everybody who joined us. Astrine Covington says, "You don't know what you don't know. That's why the world needs Dr. Allen." Oh, for certain. Thank you so much. Is this sister cousin?
That's Sister Cousin.
Okay, I heard Covington and I was like, sister cousin, right? Thank you so much. I saw Sonia Matthews in here as well. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to our producer, Mr. Montaigne Logic, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And thank you again, Belinda. I appreciate your time and your tools.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you guys. Good night.
Good night. I used to think that being a good mother meant I had it all and did it all. Never show any weakness, always holding it together. But what I've learned through the experience of raising 4 children through divorce, transitions, and growth is that the real strength is in my mindset shifts. It's letting go of the story that I have to be everything to everyone and starting to ask, what do I need to do to come home to myself? Those are the kind of shifts we're going to make together in Empowerment Unlocked, because when we change our story, we change our outcome. So join me to start your sessions. The link is in my bio, and follow me on Brown Girl Interrupting on Substack, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.